All right, today I had the opportunity to teach 8th grade math, middle school math, and there was a handout that we had. Then it's a pop quiz, slope and y-intercept of linear relationships, and we're going to take a look and run through these problems here. Now, when you're working a set of problems, there's always a couple ways to do a problem. Sometimes one way is fast, one way is a little bit slower. Teachers teach things in different manners, but the main thing is getting a way that works for you, and then after that, learning another way to do a problem. So what we're going to do here is look at a way to solve a problem. So we're going to look at this x and y with this value, and we're going to start plugging it in to solve for y. So we want to isolate the variable here. So y is equal to negative x minus 10. The variable over here is y. Put in that negative 10 is equal to negative x, negative 1 minus 10. So this turns into negative 10 is equal to 1 minus 10. Negative 10 is equal to negative 9. Is negative 10 the same thing as negative 9? No. So the answer is not A. Let's go down to B here. Y is equal to negative 6x. So plug these numbers in again here. So that y is negative 10 is equal to negative 6. And then the x is going to be negative 1. Negative 10 is equal to 6. No, it's not going to be that one either. So the interesting thing is you have a lot of information here, but what we're going to look at is solving it here just using 25% of the information. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of coordinates, and we're going to just work it to do 1. So sometimes when you're doing math, there's a lot of information given, but you don't need all of it to solve the equation. Y equals 4x minus 6. So let's plug in these numbers. That's going to be negative 10 is equal to 4. And then the x here is going to be negative 1 minus 6. Negative 10 is equal to negative 4 minus 6. Negative 10 is equal to negative 10. So we're going to stop right there, and we're going to say that C is the answer, which is nice. Now looking at this one here, so we've got a graph. So it's a graph of an equation, and there's some things that are known when you're working a problem, and there's some things that are unknown when you're working a problem. And when we look at this, we can see that the equation, the line here, goes through the y-intercept of 3. So we know at an x of 0, so a left-right, x of 0, and y value of 3, 0, 3, is something that we know about this equation. Another thing we know about it is the x-intercept. So that's going to be left to right, 1.5. So this one's a little bit tricky. You look at it first like, oh, is that 1.4, 1.6? We're going to say it's 1.5. So a little bit difficult, a little bit unclear on that x-coordinate. So 1.5, and then we see a 0 because y up and down is going to be 0. So let's take this first one here. Now, y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. We're going to use the first one here. 3 is equal to negative 2, 0 plus 3. Multiply that out, that's 0 plus 3. 3 is equal to 0. 3 is equal to 3. Wow, that one checks there on A. So let's go on to the next one, 1.5 and 0, to see if that checks out here. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. So y is going to be 0 is equal to negative 2 times 1.5 plus 3. 0 is equal to, you can see where this is going already, right? Is equal to negative 3 plus 3. 0 is equal to 0, which is correct. So that is the correct answer there. We didn't have to go through and work each of those. So you got to make sure that both of those coordinates work in the equation to know that's right. It can't just be one. Because I started solving this and I was like, oh, well, you know, B here, that actually works with this one. And then, oh, wait, well, this one works kind of with this one. So it's a little bit confusing if you try to work all of these using one of them. It's best to start working them and seeing if the first one works. If it does, then move on to the second one. So that's the check there for the answer. So we're going to go with A as the answer. So over here, this is another one. We have a lot of information. You can use some of the information. You can throw some information out. But what I'm going to do is take 50% of the information. Let's take 2 coordinates here and see what we can do using a formula. I already said that we were in Texas. So in Texas, we do respect the State of Texas Assessment of Academic Readiness. That's the STAR test. And we're going to use the slope of a line formula right here. So if we're taking that slope of a line formula, reading it right off of here with these numbers here, we're going to find out what the slope is. So slope is going to be, we'll say this is y2 minus y1, 7 minus 4 over x2 minus x1, x2, x1, 3 minus 2 is equal to 3 over 1 is equal to 3. So m is equal to 3. So we want to find out what the y-intercept is, right? So we're going to use our other equation here, which is the slope-intercept form, right? So y equals mx plus b. Y is equal to mx plus b. And for the y, let's go ahead and just throw in the first number here. So y is going to be 4, right? And then is equal to, we know what m is because we solved for m before, 3. We know what x is because x up here was 2, right? Plus b. So we know that 4 is equal to 6 plus b. b is equal to negative 2. Now, if we're working on a test and we want to do a double check here to make sure we have everything that we need, we can go back in and do this with that 3 and the 7. So let's do this one more time with the 3 and the 7. So y is equal to mx plus b, and y is going to be 7 is equal to 3, and then the x we're going to do is 3 as well, plus b. So 7 is equal to 9 plus b, so b is equal to negative 2. So that checks out. Answer here is going to be b. Now we did that in about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Typically in middle school classrooms you have about 50 minutes to complete something. So this was one handout that we had today, and then after we finished we moved on to another one. My name is Philip Getz, and today is October 25th, 2016. I look forward to teaching some more math and learning some more math myself, and once I have a good successful day teaching through this stuff, I think I did this one probably either 5 or 6 times today. Like to make little videos like this on the iPhone 6 to share some different math concepts, because you can do math in many different ways. And the thing is to get a way that works for you and to get that way working, and then look to see if there's a faster way, see if there's the way the teacher wants you to do it, and see if there's a different way in the book, because when you go to take a test, you'll want to do things in an efficient manner for the sake of time. So this presentation has been brought to you by Sony, of course. So right here, dealer source, cutter pen. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.